Players, DEVLOG dropped 2 AM UK time last night, so let's pretend I know what I'm talking about and get into this. So, Don said, since I've last written an entry, the whole island has been updated, and you know what? It's beautiful. I love it. Everything looks perfect to size. Like when you're walking around the biomes, you actually feel like I'm big around these big plants. It makes sense. Jace has been hard at work getting the feel of each area nailed down. Perfect job, from the forest and the jungle to redwoods and the mangroves. Mangroves in particular were previewed before the redwoods, but there were some additional pieces that need to be done with them to make sure we got the feel as solid as everything else. Makes sense. They're the last of our mostly terrestrial environments that need to be moved in, and I'm confident we'll pull off some interesting semi-aquatic locations and unique sanctuaries when they enter the swamp and surrounding areas. Unique sanctuaries. So does that mean they're gonna have little locations that are extras, like you just have to pass through this little area here and prime condition met? Hope so. Semi-aquatic locations, I mean, it's looking for them hot spots. I feel like they're gonna knock it out the park, to be honest. I can't wait. Doesn't deserve its own paragraph of info, but small AI is moving in, from rats and lizards to snails and insects. These little snacks will be excellent meals for small carnivores, omnivores and juveniles. There may be some carnivore sanctuary tests, but we'll see if time permits. So they're gonna introduce all the bug and the small AI into this horde test and gathering. That's what it sounds like. Should be interesting. Let's hope they're not flying through the map like the goats were in the old Evrima and how the frogs do, because sometimes you can be jumping to catch a frog and the frog just vamooses the fuck out of here, which is funny because it looks funny, but it's not because you starve. Next, speaking of the dome, there has been no shortage of progress trying to bring the behemoth to life. The entrances have been updated and the final entrance shell is wrapping up on completion. There are 4 major entrances with several side paths and locations. The main routes are massive, large enough to let in the largest of our current in-game roster several times over. That sounds huge. There are several side paths such as pipes and broken service stations that serve as routes for smaller creatures and especially climbers. That's just going to be a whole area of its own. Like, if you look at the rooms that I'm putting up on the screen right now, just imagine nesting in there or on the roof, and Rexes can come in but they can't get through the main door, but you need water. How are you getting out to get water when Rexes are camping? Let's just say YouTubers are going to have a field day with this. I know for a fact I will, especially when F2 becomes available, when this kicks onto Evrima servers. Yep, I'm feeling it. The note is, don't try this at home. Building believable interiors for a structure that size with space necessary to transport the largest of animals while still having additional routes through that didn't turn entryways into a hallway of death is challenging. I'm glad that they picked up on this, because that's important, man. It's resulted in expanding a lot of areas, so there's possibility of moving through the interiors and actually being able to avoid encounters if you took different routes. Making sure everything flowed well unintentionally turned each location into its own type of place of interest and man-made playground. Think about it. You go into a room, but that links into another room, which links into an air duct, and that air duct links into a main hall. That main hall has several doors and openings which lead into bigger halls, bigger walkways, smaller walkways. Yeah, I'm here for it. Next, Control came with the first rollout of this HT, which I hope you've all been enjoying. Yes, we have. Overall, the animal took a little longer than I've liked it to, but it's one of the remaining few animals that has a key ability that will be shared with other animals on the roster. I think that's to do with it having spikes and how other animals would get hurt going next to it, so any other playable who has some sort of defensive armor or whatever would cause that damage to an enemy. I think that's what he's talking about there. There's still work to be done for its defensive stance. It will receive a small stability boost, nice, and will proc recoil on an enemy attack or when blocking certain abilities to better convey that they are taking damage, because at the moment you get hit and you don't really know He also received a small weight boost to put him over the edge of being a 3-pin. Okay, so he's heavier than he would have been. Once all of the features of reflection damage and defensive stance are working smoothly on Control, you'll see similar capability on things like Ceratopsians and Spinosaurids. Yeah, that's what it is. Interesting. I do like Control. Its attack combos, its defensive capabilities is kind of high. It's a bit of a weakling, but it holds its own, and I think with max mutations, or at least 2-3 mutations, you'll be a force. No doubt at all. Next, the Ostroraptor and possibly Oviraptor will be enabled at some point during a future update to this horde test for some earlier hands-on. Oviraptor gets to come before Baryonyx for the same reason Redwoods came before Mangroves. It was simpler and moved faster towards completion. I will accept no Oviraptor slander. While Ostroraptor is closer to completion, Oviraptor has had some horrifying things to fix over the last week. So what this says to me, that if Oviraptor comes before Baryonyx, and Oviraptor is a possibility to come this horde test, Barry's coming the next horde test. But the next horde test might come sooner because the player pools are easier to develop. So I hope you can take that with a grain of salt and, you know, harbor that for a while. Because I think that might be the case. But Ostro's coming and more than likely Oviraptor. Sounds good to me. Now this next one is pretty interesting. Ostroraptor primarily focuses on spearfishing like Pteranodon or hunting small game. Despite being taller than Omni, it has a lighter build and is more fragile. Ostro does have basic pounce and latch capability. It can swap pounce slot positions but lacks unique primary secondary attacks while latched, since it's not specialized in taking down large prey. Ostro also has the capability to swim underwater and can hunt elite fish, though be mindful of dinos and angry baby groups. Ostro sounds like one of those that's just going to be nipping in and out of scenarios, taking this here, taking that there, so you can latch from the side, from the top, so you can pounce as a group, basically. And you're taller than an Omni, so realistically, even though you're lighter, 3 of you might be able to take down a smaller Omni. Ostro may be a force to be reckoned with, even though it's small. A vibrant addition to the playables, OV is a small and quick opportunistic omnivore, while it will have a primary diet of plants, we've leaned into the idea of egg thief. OV will be able to scent for active nests or other species that currently have eggs in them. Snatching an egg and turning it into a meal will reward the Oviraptor with considerable nutrients. Guessing, perfect diet. This capability may make its way to a few other animals on the roster in the future, but remains exclusive to OV at this time. I wonder what else, maybe, well, I'm guessing Ostro will have that. Parents that do recover an egg from an egg thief can pick the egg up and return it back to the nest. Now I can just imagine a whole flock of OVs antagonizing the nest. Once the parent runs away, one gets in, grabs the egg. That's going to be a fun playable. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be absolute chaos. Nests are no longer safe. Not that they've ever been safe in the first place, but there we go. Next, Pteranodon received additional aerial and terrestrial updates. There's still work to be done on directional attacks, but the overall direction has felt nice to see it becoming a terrestrial fear of smaller animals. But maybe we'll bump up his size just a bit to really cement it as a credible threat to unwary animals out in the open. Well, as you can see, you know, credible threat confirmed. Next, Quetzalcoatlus is still in development, but you can see some of the animations in the media at the end of the post. It may be fragile in comparison to the heaviest on the ground, but it is still exceptionally quick and lethal. It can close the distance between itself and the target, or create distance by striking forward and evading backwards to stay out of biting range of a bigger target. So it's agile. You think it can't get you from there? Yes, it can. You think you can get it from where you are? No, you can't. That's the issue. Quetz is an issue. And if you see some of the images, I'll show you after the end of the video. Listen, the thing can hang upside down. Nowhere is safe. And that's not even the best part. I've saved this part because, yo, look at this animation right here. What is this? What? I want to know how heavy that ball can be in terms of a prime quetz. What can it lift? What is that ball? That's what I want to know. But that animation has got me so excited. I can't wait for quetz. That's gonna be savage. You're gonna get picked off the floor and not even realize what's going on. Dropped from listen, danger. That's all I'm saying, danger. Next, the sound team recording the Barry has some unique thwomping noises that really help define the character, really sets it apart from anything else on the roster. Next, after Barry is Beaviceratops, Camarasaurus, and Parasaurolophus. That's what it is. Anyway, I'm excited for the new sounds and the sound design because I feel like having a quicker social interaction rather than typing will make the economy better. Anyway, hill slides are also on the horizon with a few small changes on how we handle terrain slopes and may enter this horde test or the next, depending on how well Kentrosaurus behaves. Animals now lose momentum moving uphill with some differences depending on if they are quadrupedal or bipedal. Animals will now intentionally slide down hills at certain steeper angles and also adjust depending on whether or not a player is walking or attempting to run down certain angles. This has been a great way to help a player orient themselves and slow down to prevent themselves from breaking a leg or falling to their doom. Functionally, it has all worked pretty well in testing and I'm showering it with praise because seeing it all come together has been really neat. I'm sure I will regret this when you all figure out something heinous that the team never could have anticipated with the slides. Well, there's obviously going to be people that are going to abuse in any way possible, but I'm interested to see whether or not it's forced as soon as you enter any steep incline or whether or not you can kind of manipulate it. It'll be interesting to see, but obviously through testing we will find out soon. But I'm interested, rather not break a leg. Finally, elders are getting further adjustments to the system based on feedback. Overall lifetime should be unaffected for the roster, but more of an animal's lifetime will be spent at its peak physical condition, adult or prime stats before the attributes begin falling off. So basically we get more time being strong. Perfect. What more could you ask for? I mean, people want to get rid of the prime conditions, and personally, I think it's neither here nor there. It is what it is. It's part of the game. Just do it. If you don't get it, you're a frail. Oh well, move on. You know, that's the end. That's all there is that we've been given. It's exciting stuff, exciting things to come. I hope you all enjoyed. If you like this kind of content, drop a like, drop a sub. Let me know in the comments what you feel, and I'll put the media that the devs shown to you at the end of this video. See you on the service.